Chris Martin can't believe it, Taehyung leaving BTS. Jungkook reveals everything. Hello everyone. Before we dive into the details that Jungkook himself just revealed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what's coming next might just change everything you thought you knew about BTS. This story is layered, emotional, and yes, potentially heartbreaking. Let's begin. 30 minutes ago, a quiet shockwave rippled through both the K-pop world and international music circles. Coldplay frontman Chris Martin, a longtime friend and admirer of BTS, was reportedly stunned, speechless even, when he heard what millions of ARMY fans are still struggling to believe. Because right now, the whispers have grown into a roar. Is Kim Taehyung leaving BTS? It started quietly. Not with a press conference, not with a formal statement from HYBE, but with a subtle silence. Taehyung, the soulful voice behind Singularity, the eternal face of Winter Bear, began pulling away from the public spotlight in a way that didn't feel like rest, it felt like distance. He wasn't missing, he was present. But his eyes seemed somewhere else. Fans noticed it in his Weverse replies, in the tone of his voice during brief appearances, and especially in his solo schedules. Taehyung had always been the dreamer of the group, but suddenly his dreams seemed to be taking him away, not bringing him closer. And then came Jungkook. In a live stream that initially felt casual, just the Golden Maknae chatting with fans, laughing, humming, being his usual humble self, something shifted. A question popped up from a fan, one that seemed innocent enough. Is Taehyung okay? He seems different lately. Jungkook paused. A long, heavy silence followed. And then, with eyes that couldn't lie, he responded. Hyung has been thinking a lot about where he belongs. Not just in the group, but as a person. He's on a journey. A journey? What did that mean? At first, ARMYs thought it was metaphorical. Maybe Taehyung was reflecting, recharging. But over the next 48 hours, a storm of clues began to emerge, one of them from someone unexpected, Chris Martin. The Coldplay frontman has never hidden his admiration for BTS, especially Taehyung, whose rich baritone voice and raw emotional depth remind him, reportedly, of classic-era singers. They shared a magical collaboration on My Universe, and in multiple interviews, Chris has gushed about the group's humility, their artistic soul. So when he tweeted a single cryptic sentence, "Sometimes, the brightest stars need to orbit alone," fans panicked. Was he talking about Taehyung? Behind the scenes, it seems Chris had heard more than most. Sources close to HYBE say that Taehyung has been in regular contact with Chris Martin for months, not just as friends, but as fellow artists trying to understand the next chapter of their creative lives. And it turns out, Chris might be playing a surprising role in all this. But before we go deeper into what Jungkook revealed about Taehyung's intentions, and what HYBE may or may not be hiding, we need to rewind the clock. Back to 2021, when BTS and Coldplay performed together at the United Nations and the Global Citizen event. It was a cultural moment, yes, but for Taehyung, it may have been something more, a spark. During rehearsals, those close to the group say Taehyung and Chris Martin had deep, off-camera conversations about music, yes, but also about freedom. About identity. Chris reportedly told Taehyung, "Fame is beautiful, but it can cage you if you're not careful." Those words, apparently, stuck. Because over the last year, fans have watched Taehyung step further into his solo identity, from Layover, his introspective solo album filled with jazz, R&B, and melancholy hues, to his acting pursuits in Paris fashion moments that felt less like PR and more like personal liberation. But here's the real question. Was all this just artistry, or was it preparation? Cut to early 2025. Jungkook is now midway through his military service, but before he enlisted, he reportedly had an emotional night with Taehyung, a private dinner, no cameras, no staff, just two brothers sharing memories and decisions. Jungkook would later hint at it in a now-famous V Live, where he said, "We cried a lot that night. Sometimes love means letting someone fly." ARMYs were quick to dissect the meaning, but they didn't have all the puzzle pieces. Not yet. Then came the leak. A backstage video surfaced online, showing Chris Martin hugging Taehyung tightly after a private studio session in Seoul. No words could be heard, only Chris saying quietly, "Whatever you choose, it'll be beautiful." The internet exploded. Was Taehyung recording a goodbye album? Was he preparing to debut internationally under a new label, possibly even under Coldplay's guidance? Even more shocking, HYBE refused to comment. They neither denied nor confirmed the rumors. And in the silence, speculation turned into fear. And then came the final twist, something no one expected. Just days ago, Jungkook's team posted a behind-the-scenes documentary-style video of his final moments before enlistment. Most of it was standard, goodbyes, hugs, gratitude. But in the final 60 seconds, we see Jungkook sitting in a quiet room, looking directly into the camera. He says, with a soft smile, "If one day Taehyung follows his heart somewhere else, please don't be sad. Be proud. We all made a promise a long time ago, to be free, together or apart." And just like that, the unthinkable didn't seem so impossible anymore. Taehyung wasn't just pulling away. He was preparing. Not out of anger. Not out of loss. But because maybe, just maybe, his path was leading him somewhere new. Somewhere only he could go. And Chris Martin? He's not just a friend. He may be the only one Taehyung trusts enough to help him navigate it. So now, armies around the world are asking the same haunting question. What happens to BTS when one of the stars decides to fly solo forever? The idea of Taehyung leaving BTS hits like a thunderclap. After all, BTS is not just a band. It's a global phenomenon, a brotherhood forged over more than a decade of triumphs and trauma. To imagine one of its most beloved members quietly stepping away feels unthinkable. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this video with your fellow armies, and let the world know this story isn't over. It's just getting started. And don't forget to subscribe, because the moment Taehyung speaks, or HYBE finally tells the truth, you'll want to be the first to know. Until then, stay curious, stay connected, and never stop believing in the music that brought us all together.